Hey, Uyuu heads! Ever wondered what the world would be like if instead of serfs, medieval Europe consisted purely of bright-haired anime girls? Experience this and much more as I change Toho from a shoot-'em-up game into a shoot-them-down experience, and promptly get slaughtered by the level 32 nuclear fusion reactors flying towards me, because apparently caravan guards have been enriched by nutritious breakfast of the elephant's foot, giving them enough radiation to continue exploding me for 700 million years. Anywho's, say hello to John Estrogen. You see, there are certain requirements to even making it to Gensokyo, and it was either this or the help of an industrial hydraulic press. John Estrogen, or S for short, is a white wolf tengu for reasons that will become apparent. She sets out on her campaign to accomplish these wishes 3 in order. Be hella rich. Bump and dump the finest maiden, and wipe the earth clean of Buddhism. This is a reasonable thing for a fine woman to intend, because Buddhists are stupid, and will genuinely tell you to your face, trust me, I would know, that for the sinful act of bleeding every month, women will go to period super hell when they die. It's a nice thought, but I think it's time to teach them what exactly it is that happens when they themselves get stabbed. This hypothesis will be fact-checked by real Taoist thinkers. With these goals in mind, Eastern Standard Time sets out for the world. As it turns out, magic and the spell card rules of Gensokyo are being discarded in favor of caving in each other's skulls and the occasional horse charge. This is bad news for the flight-based urban planning of the cities, but also for me. I may be great at dodging droplets in the shower, but my wrists are dainty and permanently afflicted with the gamer sign pain of carpal tunnel. You can see this when I accept my first task from a gooey-looking white woman to hunt down Muse the demon. Strikes from my weapon are like the shaky touch of a geriatric, and I am quickly sent plummeting down the stairs. When I tried to purchase a better weapon, I was too weak to lift it. Truly an embarrassment. This is why I pivoted to the solution of all weak little goblins, guns. Consequently, I was forced to hide my face in shame, because all my cool friends can shoot missiles with their mind, and I'm stuck shoving medicinal powder and the elixir of life down a little piece of wood, you know, like an idiot. Have you ever tried to suggest alternative Chinese medicine to a level 20 wizard who can explode your pancreas with a roll of his eyes? It ends in unsolicited chiropractic, which is why my clients are all naked madmen instead. Before we get to that, today's sponsor is nobody. When editing, how much time do you think should pass between pressing the play button and your preview actually playing? Instant, you say. How about 5 seconds? Torture like that is why I need your help, through subs, likes, sharing, and memberships, which I have ceremoniously spiced up for you. Enjoy the coveted Uyuu virtual channel emotes and custom Uyuu head badge at any tier. It's like I'm a real VTuber for once. Higher tiers are for those better endowed, which is why they offer the vanity of a colorful or even, oh my, sparkly name in the credits. Through your contributions, I will grow in power, and this slop will grow in quality. Speaking of, back to your broadcast. Following my embarrassment of getting bested by a fairy, I used the tatters left of my reputation to recruit a few villagers from around Yokai Mountain. With their help, I picked on roving bands of degenerates, all the while contemplating what separates them from normal human beings. Is it a lack of shame? Parental guidance? It cannot be plastics polluting their brains, because, well, we haven't invented those yet. Unable to grasp an answer, I laid them to rest and left them for the Kappa. Getting rid of such specimens earned me the gratitude of everyone in the area, so it was a worthwhile endeavor. Or so it would seem, if I hadn't started murdering those same people immediately afterwards. First, we hunt down wandering peasants, age, gender, and their dreams notwithstanding. Mow them down, but leave one alive. Follow their scent to their village and feast. That is how wolves operate, at least that I know of. We raise one village, then reinvest our savings. However, committing such atrocity, based or not, leaves marks on the psyche. Follow only your id and your ego will crumble. When we look back at our third and final goal, it is to change Gensokyo for the better, which is why the weapon I chose to wield was a non-lethal one. We start as brutes, vagrants and ruffians, but our hearts still beat within our chests. One day, we might emerge as better people. Still, this world is no better than me. As an example, I visited a pub hoping to find companions, only to face a merciless ransom broker, whose life's work is the procuring, ransoming, and selling of slaves. Of course, this sociopath was at most 6 years of age, further proving the age-old adage that children have no souls and cannot enter heaven as a result. The troubadour next to her didn't have a head. In a sense, we were a matching pair, because I ain't got no body to join my retinue, seriously. To add insult to injury, next thing I know I'm being assaulted by a rowdy Oni, who I send to the stars with a boink on the head. So much for finding adequate followers. Following this stark reminder of the world's cruelty, I continued pillaging to my heart's content, though in a non-lethal manner. When they later die of starvation, it wasn't me. It was the natural order of things, or maybe God, depending on what they believe in. For the currency gained from my hustle, aggressive income, if you will, I procured a horse, because waiting 5 minutes for a single enemy to rout was getting frustrating. I know what you might be thinking, but if you try to end the battle while a singular fairy is routing, defecating her proverbial bloomers, you lose, presumably to an attention deficit-induced aneurysm. On the topic of losing, my life as a Viking in Japan was abruptly cut short, as my reputation finally caught up with me, in the form of a horde of vampires, riding like angels of God with spears on horseback, forever instilling in me the fear of the thunder of horse charge. Me and my oblivious pikemen didn't last very long. I was taken hostage, but it was a fruitful twist of fate, and not because I'm into pet play or anything. As I escaped their clutches covered in bite marks, similar in complexion to the grandmother from SpongeBob, behold, a Taoist raiding party. My eyes skimmed the name, Sega's party. My neurons activated. I began my courting ritual. Oh, Sega, my love and muse. Your eyes are like the deepest ponds, where all the world's wisdoms sink together. Your morals lay drowned there, and your bosom is cold like an inviting pillow. Your hair loops, well, let's just say, they tie around me like a snare, and send me to another world. You are not the light, but the darkness of my life, keeping me cool when the sun is unbearable. Wanna keep me on a leash? Boys, it was the sorriest of heartbreak. Her response along the lines of, well, it's not fun if you've already groomed yourself. But I was determined. I would win her rotting heart. To this end, I lowered myself to collecting taxes for Sega's side hoe, whom she is entirely and utterly transfixed by, but that's not an obstacle. After briefly being gunned down by rabbits, I ran into another retainer of the Taoist faction. We got along, and ignoring the gnawing feeling that this video is just turning into Toho fanfiction, I carried out a few tasks for her. She wasn't very emotive, but she had a good heart, and unlike everyone else, she didn't see me as absolute garbage. I took my revenge on the rabbits, and in exchange for their hides, I procured a sake brewing enterprise here and there, but definitely not everywhere, because nobody liked me. Well, Kokoro liked me, enough to hear out my incessant simping, and though it was with a sour expression for reasons I'm not privy to, she risked her own reputation to recommend me into the army of Senkai, so that I may grow closer to my love. On my way, I met with Yoshika again, and hunted down her dinner. I then swore my fealty to some prince from a bygone era. Quite frankly, she wasn't important to me, and as luck would have it, I chanced upon my dearest Sega engaged in battle afterwards, and rode to her aid. She found this gesture distasteful. I didn't understand. It wounded me. I needed to win her over somehow. When I arrived to the nearest city, I was struck by an assassination attempt. Why? Who could possibly be interested in my corpse? My time was limited, and that is why I rejoiced at the summons to a war campaign. I accompanied their armies to battle, and there it was, a siege, to forever exalt my name as a great warrior. I even drew a lethal weapon for the first time in months, so eager to prove myself to my love. The sounds of battle, rage, the clashing of steel, and the echoes of death. And the enemy reinforcements spawning on top of me. Attempt 2. This time, staying cautious of enemies quantum tunneling through the fabric of space to surround me, we triumphed, true and brave. The Buddhists didn't stand a chance at the sight of slaughter. To meet their final defenses at the keep, I reached again for my bat. I tried telling myself I hadn't changed for the worse, but it was petty comforts, lies to myself. On my own, I dueled one of the Buddhist rulers outside the city premises. Who had they lost in that siege? The next night, I rode alone, wishing to process my thoughts. As I did, that familiar thumping of hooves stormed towards me. One last time, I pondered everything. Had I just rode back home, I could have at least said goodbye to Kokoro, my only friend in this transient world. But I had fallen a victim to my greedy desires, and my just deserts were the iron of their spears. My deepest thanks to all devoted Uyuu heads. From now on, your names will be displayed at the end of every video. It is with your help that this slop is even possible, and rest assured, I will continue feeding you until you pop. That is all. Have a wonderful day.